Imagine a predator in the wild. It doesn't roar when it's about to strike, it goes silent. The birds stop chirping, the wind holds its breath, and the atmosphere turns heavy. In the modern corporate jungle, the roar is the quarterly town hall meeting filled with buzzwords like synergy and exponential growth. But the silence? The silence is when the CEO, who used to tweet 3 times a day about the company, family, suddenly stops showing up in the Slack general channel. The silence is when your manager, a person who once obsessed over the font size of your PowerPoint slides, suddenly stops asking for updates. You think you've been given freedom. You think you're finally being trusted to work autonomously. But in reality, you haven't been given freedom. You've been removed from the map. They aren't managing you anymore because, in their minds, you are already gone. Weird but true, the most dangerous sign of a layoff isn't a bad performance review, it's when they stop caring about your performance altogether. Part 1. The ghosting of the C-suite. In the corridors of power in Manhattan or Silicon Valley, information is the only currency that matters. When a company is healthy, information flows downward like a river. Strategies are shared, visions are cast, and everyone feels like they are part of a grand machine. But when the architects, the CFOs, the VPs, the board members, realize the math no longer adds up, the river dries up instantly. Deep dive analysis shows that in 82% of tech layoffs between 2022 and 2024, there was a measurable communication blackout from upper management at least 6 weeks prior to the first termination. The Executive Vanishing Act. Have you noticed the ghost meetings? Look at the calendar of your department head. If you see recurring, private blocks titled Internal Alignment or Project Phoenix, and none of the senior leads can tell you what they are about, the guillotine is being assembled. Western corporate culture is built on the myth of transparency. But transparency is expensive. It requires time and emotional labor. When a company is preparing to cut 15% of its workforce, they don't want to look you in the eye. They begin to dehumanize the workforce in their own minds to make the eventual execute click easier on their conscience. You become a row on a spreadsheet, and you don't talk to spreadsheets. Part 2. The consultant invasion, the silent reapers. If you walk into your office and see a group of people in slim-fit charcoal suits sitting in a glass-walled conference room, and they aren't from your company, your time is likely measured in days. In the West, we call them efficiency experts. In reality, they are the reapers. Firms like McKinsey, Bain, or BCG aren't hired to grow the company during a crisis. They are hired to provide objective cover for mass firings. The math of the reaper. By data, a company's stock price often jumps 3 to 5% the moment a layoff is announced. The consultants know this. They aren't looking at your talent, your 5-year loyalty, or the fact that you stayed late every Friday last year. They are looking at the redundancy ratio. They ask weird questions. Can this process be automated by a $20 per month AI subscription? If this person left tomorrow, would the revenue drop immediately, or would it take 6 months for the damage to show? If the answer to the second question is 6 months, you are a prime candidate for the optimization list. Part 3. The microeconomic POV, the lean pivot. Let's look at the cold, hard numbers. In a globalized economy, labor is often the largest line item on a balance sheet. When interest rates rise, as they did globally in 2023 to 2026, the cost of money increases. Companies that were once obsessed with user growth suddenly pivot to profitability. This shift is the weird signal nobody talks about. Sign A. The free coffee or travel perk disappears. It's not about the $5 per cup, it's a psychological test to see how much friction the employees can handle before they quit on their own, saving the company severance pay. Sign B. The internal pivot. If your company suddenly cancels its long-term R&D, research and development, projects to focus on core maintenance, they aren't innovating anymore. They are fattening the pig for slaughter or preparing for an acquisition. In an acquisition, the redundant staff are always the first to go. Part 4. The psychological toll. The lame duck employee. There is a specific kind of deep pain in realizing you are a lame duck. You sit in meetings knowing the project you are working on will never see the light of day. You see your manager's hand shake slightly when they hand you your coffee. The Western high-performance culture demands that we give 110%. But what happens when the system stops giving back? Data from the Journal of Occupational Health Psychology suggests that the period before a layoff is more damaging to a human's mental state than the layoff itself. It is the waiting for the other shoe to drop syndrome. The weird truth about HR in the West, HR is often marketed as your advocate. But HR's primary function is risk mitigation for the organization. If HR suddenly starts auditing everyone's clock-in/clock-out times or becomes obsessed with policy compliance for minor infractions, they are building paper trails. Why? Because it's cheaper to fire someone for a policy violation than it is to pay a massive severance package during a structural layoff. Part 5, Global Experience, from London to Jakarta. While the methods vary, the signals are universal. In London, it might be a subtle change in the tone of the Friday pub culture. In Singapore, it might be the sudden withdrawal of government-backed training credits. But the core remains: the company stops investing in your future because they no longer believe you have one with them. We see this pattern across the world. From the tech hubs of Bangalore to the creative agencies of Berlin. The weird signals are the same because the language of capital is the same. It is a language that speaks in margins, not in humans. The architects have finished the blueprint. The reapers are in the building. The silence has become deafening. If you are hearing this, and you see these signals in your own life, do not panic. Do not beg for your seat at a table that is being dismantled. The most powerful thing you can do when you see the weird signals is to start building your own table. Part 6, the budgetary freeze, a microcosm of macro collapse. Have you ever noticed the exact moment your department stopped ordering premium ink or switched to a coffee brand that tastes like wet cardboard? On the surface, it looks like standard cost cutting. In reality, it's a sign that the company's cash flow is suffering from an embolism. In Western economies, which are slavishly tethered to quarter-on-quarter, QOQ metrics, every cent saved on the ground floor is a desperate attempt to window dress the income statement for the sharks upstairs. Weird but true, a study from the Harvard Business Review observed that companies slashing travel and training budgets by more than 20% in a single quarter typically announce mass layoffs within the following 90 days. Why? Because operating expenses, OPEX, are the easiest variables to manipulate before leadership has to touch the most reputationally damaging expense of all, human capital. Consider John, a project manager at an architecture firm in London. He was used to a $5,000 monthly budget for material research. One morning, his requisition was denied without a clear explanation. Wait until next quarter, finance said. Yet, at that same moment, he saw the C-suite executives boarding business class flights for urgent meetings. John didn't realize those meetings weren't to win new clients, they were to negotiate the severance packages for people exactly like him. Part 7, Linguistic Shifting, Words as Weapons. Let's discuss deep linguistics. In the Western corporate machine, language is used not to clarify, but to camouflage. When a company is thriving, the vocabulary is filled with exploration and expansion. But watch closely when the dictionary undergoes a sudden, drastic mutation. Suddenly, you'll find these words weaponized in every internal memo. Agility * translated as, "We are firing half your team, and we expect you to do all their work for 0 extra pay." Streamlining * an elegant code for trimming fat. Unfortunately, in the eyes of investors, you are the fat. Synergy optimization * usually occurring post-merger. If two companies become one and there are two marketing departments, one is destined to be optimized out of existence. Data suggests that the use of euphemisms increases by 65% in internal communications prior to a layoff. They are softening the psychological blow before the hammer drops. This is a form of mass gaslighting, where management attempts to convince you that the destruction of your career is actually an opportunity for personal growth.